Hi guys, my name is Joe and my partner Nick. And today we're going to present the final project for visualization. The project visualizes the air quality and transportation statistic of the United States in the year between 2019 to 2022, which covers the time period of pandemic. The air quality is a critical factor in our daily life, as it can have a significant impact in our life, in our health and well-being. Transportation is one of major contributors to the air pollution, releasing harmful gases and particles into atmosphere. In this project, through visualization, we're trying to explore the connection between the air quality and transportation, especially during the pandemic, which government enforced the lockdown. Air quality data set provide county-level statistics related to the air pollution by EPA, measure the concentrations of pollutants in the air. Higher AQI indicates higher pollutant concentration. Transportation statistic provided by the government measures the county-level measurement of trips taken by the population. In this data set, trip is defined as stay of longer than 10 minutes away from home. It records the number of trips for different distance taken daily. Both data sets are collected at daily granularity in county level. We fuse the data set based on the county FIPS number. So we're going to move to our dashboard. So in our dashboard, we have 4 different graphs. One is a cold path map and a PCA plot and time series and a bar graph. So in this map, the map, each county is colored by the total populations. We can select a different features in here. So by default, it demonstrates the total population. And the blue means it has low population, and yellow means it has high population. And we have a click features. You can select on different county we have and zoom in and zoom out. And these are the PCA plots we have. And also we can select on different row of data, different counties. And different counties, region of counties are this PCA are clustered by region of different counties. As you can see, we click on these PCAs, we can change the county we select. And we can using control and click multiple PCA plus, we can select different counties and compare them. This is time series corresponding to both of it. And this bar graph is demonstrate the top 20 counties of current future we select. And we have descending and ascending. By default, it's ascending. So by clicking this button, we have descending. We can also click on these bars to select different counties. And these are features we have. And it's scored all the stuff we have. And the slider we have controls the time period we want to demonstrate. Yep. Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
So in terms of the takeaways we wanted to find from this project, first thing we were looking for was, did COVID reduce traveling? So the way we looked at this was checking out the percentage of population for each county that stayed home on any given day. So as we can see, if we select pretty much any county we see here, there's going to be an increase in the percentage of the population that stayed home right around this April 2020 mark, which is kind of the beginning of COVID in the United States. And this increase sustained right around until April of 2021, which was kind of when things started dying down with COVID. And there are spikes and increases for things like different waves of COVID, but across the board, if we see for, even the most urban of counties like Los Angeles to the most rural of counties like those in Wyoming, you see this general trend. That being said, COVID, we can tell, did impact counties differently based on whether they were rural or urban. So let's go ahead. Let's take some of our high population counties, such as Los Angeles, and let's say Cook County, which is for Chicago, Illinois, And let's also, while we're there, let's select some of these more rural counties. And let's check out the percentage of the population that stayed at home on any given day. And as you can see with our counties such as Los Angeles, they had a very drastic change there. And San Juan might be a little bit of an outlier right there. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to select a different random county, such as Wyoming, and compare it to one of the Los Angeles counties. And you can see the Ventura County, which is again one of the more urban counties, started off with a lower percent of their population staying home, and they jumped up and had a higher percent of their population staying home than one of the more rural counties. So that just shows the difference that COVID impacted different counties. So the other question we were looking to answer was, how did COVID impact air quality? Did people staying home and not driving increase and make the air quality better? So to look at this, we use the air quality index reading of the from the EPA. And as we can see, if we look at some of these more interesting counties down here, such as San Bernardino County, Los Angeles, going back to there again, you can see you might say, oh, look, there's a noticeable increase right around April 2020. And in this case, an increase would mean that the air quality is getting worse, that there are more pollutants in the air. So if you're grasping for straws and trying to make conclusions, you might say that COVID had a negative increase, actually, a negative correlation on your air quality. But if you look a little closer, you see that this actually is more of a seasonal trend. Let's isolate each year. This is around 2019. You can see that the air quality starts off a little lower, and then in the summer it gets a little higher, and then it starts to move back down into the summer, into the winters. And if we see, this pattern kind of emerges across the board. So it's not so much that COVID had an impact on the air quality, but it's more that seasonal factors impact it, like the heat and the temperature, and potentially how much wind is blowing. And if we want to check out counties like Suffolk County, which is where Stony Brook is based out of, check some of these more northeastern urban counties, we can see kind of the same trend. Every summer, the air quality spikes up, gets worse, and then returns back to normal in the winter. So one of the last interesting conclusions we saw was analyzing the different brackets of trip distance. So for this percent of trips, this is the amount of trips that are lower than 1 mile and then going all the way up until greater than 500 miles. So when we examined the percent of trips between 500 and 100 miles and looked at a county such as Miami, you could see that there seems to be a little bit of noise, even though there are long overlapping trends. But let's go ahead and isolate one time period. Let's check out this kind of late spring, early summer. And what you can see here is that these days right here, there's spikes and then valleys, spikes and valleys. And if you can see, May 16th, this is a Sunday. So these spikes are occurring on Sunday. So this kind of gives you an insight into the travel patterns of people in Florida. They tend to travel on weekends and then make these long trips on weekends and not as much during the weekdays. And these trends actually generalize across the board. We could select very, random counties over here, and we see these spikes over and over again. They might be a little more diluted in these more rural counties, but across the board, we see them. And yeah, that was just some of the interesting things we saw from our data set. Thank you for listening, and yeah.